My best wishes for Belfast would be that, I suppose, we want peace, you know. We don't want, the divisions between people aren't doing anybody any good. And I think it's very sad the way people continue to fight and continue to hate each other just because they're different. And I suppose we need to grow up. We're a very immature society, and we have an island mentality. We look inward and we think we're the centre of the universe, you know, that the universe revolves around Belfast. My name is Brian Houston. I come from East Belfast, and I've lived here all my life. I'd always wanted to be a musician, but people told me I couldn't do it. People said it was a crazy dream, it was something I shouldn't do. And so I listened to people like that. I went and got a job, and I worked for a few years till I felt like I was dying in that job. And I realized that I had to either do this or give up, you know, in life.
And wherever you're, don't leave me's gone. Wherever you're, don't leave me's gone. Well, I remember when you needed me. Nowadays you're happier when I disappear. And you act more like your old self when I'm gone for a week or two. Did you know that I was scared of falling out of love with you? And now we can't seem to help it. It's like we both have gotten too used to it. Yes, I'm sure it's not dead, but it's hanging by a thread of truth. And the fact I'm scared of falling out of love with you.
On nearly all my albums that I've produced, I've included a song that in some way touched on the Irish issue, you know. When I grew up in a state that was heavily political in one direction, but I grew up with parents who were not like that at all. And I was brought up to believe people were people, that we didn't discriminate against one side or another. My father wasn't into religion, he was into communism. My mother was brought up East Belfast Protestantism, so it was a big mix going on. I think the scene in Belfast is very healthy. I think a lot of musicians are trying really hard to make their own records, to write their own songs, to try to get those records on the radio. 10 years ago, a lot of bands would have waited around for record companies. You know, they made a couple of songs and then they sent them to an English record company. And if they didn't get anywhere, if nothing happened, a lot of bands packed it in. And I think people just want to be musicians, and they realize that that's okay in itself, just to do it and be an artist without having to make the big bucks.
Where I took my first step, I got my feet wet, I strummed my guitar, and the sisters wept. Then this preacher, he said, son, if you ever come back, we got a place for you to go. And I'm going back to Orangeville.
I think the chances for females are much higher, so I think I'll go that direction. I'm going to wear a dress from now on and a long wig and try to make it as a woman. I think I might have to shave the beard off. Bye.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. I could call, but I don't want to. I could cry, but don't know how to. I could fly, but I'm afraid to try. I'm standing here outside your window. I got 2 coins in my pocket. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
No matter where you go, we're glad you hear me go. You ever see that song? Sing me this song. Show me the way to go.
Please put your hands together. This is Susan Bean.
I can't see the stars anymore living here. Let's go to the hills where the outlines are clear.
I'm a songwriter and I play piano and guitar. I played with a band for 3 years. Great experience, but all good things must come to an end, so we decided to break about a year ago now, which was difficult at first because you're used to having 6 other musicians around you to support you musically, and then you're on your own with a guitar and a piano. But it certainly challenges you to become a better musician because you can't rely on anybody else.
Forget the gold dust falling from the sky. Lift up your eyes. Be glad to be alone. If you want something new, smash the pavement so the flowers can push through.
Subculture in Belfast is important in that it gives bands an opportunity to play because the pubs are the venues. Sometimes it's difficult to be heard because of the pub mentality here. People talk very, very loudly, and it's not because they don't listen, it's not because they're not interested, they just love talking.
You want something new, smash the pavement so the flowers can push through. Take somebody else with you down your road, mildly glad to be.
I'm not a depressive songwriter. I don't want to sing songs to people that are going to make them depressed. I want to sing songs where they're maybe going to go away thinking, yeah, I can do that, or yeah, I feel a little bit better from hearing that song. That's made my day. Tonight I'm playing at Auntie Annie's Porterhouse as part of one of the singer-songwriter nights in Belfast.
Will I get lost coming home? Always. After all, the miracle replays. When the dark clouds disappeared, we all belong here.
Thank you, thanks very much.
Au début des années 70, le mouvement punk explose à Belfast. Terry Hawley est considéré non seulement comme un des parrains de ce mouvement, mais aussi comme le plus célèbre disquaire d'Irlande. Son magasin, Good Vibration, est inscrit dans l'histoire du rock comme étant le berceau de la scène punk irlandaise.
When I grew up in Belfast, there was a fantastic scene in the 60s. There was a lot of R&B bands like Van Morrison and them in the late 70s when the punk movement was here. That was just fantastic at the time because it was the first time since the Troubles began in over 10 years that young people got together, and it didn't matter whether you were a Protestant or a Catholic, as long as you were a punk. most popular record that we have in this shop. It's in the 8 years that we've been in these premises is my own single, and I can't sing a note, and I wouldn't buy it.
The driver in Daddy's car, but you drove us all too far. And you got so many friends.
The 70s were a horrific time with a lot of murders, a lot of murder gangs running around like the Shankill Butchers, killing people, and a lot of bombs going off. And a lot of kids that used to go to the Hart Bar, for instance, used to have to fight their way there and fight their way home. Pub culture is very big in Belfast, so it is. But one of my favourite bars is round the corner here, and it's the Crown Bar. It's a very famous bar. Part of it's all Victorian. And one of the reasons why it's so beautiful is because a lot of the ceramic work in the bar was done by Italians who came over here to do a lot of work in the chapels. And then at night time, they would go in and they would do work in the Crown Bar. And it's just a lovely bar. I always say about Belfast people that we don't like each other, but if you're not from here, we love you.
On Belfast streets I've heard it said, they're shooting little children dead, taking life hardly begun with plastic bullets from their guns. We won't be kept down easy, we will not be still, we won't be kept down easy, run, maim and kill. Young Caroline, 12 years of age, shut down by Brits in Bloody Ridge. We Judy the Van Stone as well, fell victim to their plastic hands.
Terry O'Neill est musicien. Il habite Belfast-Ouest dans le quartier sensible des catholiques républicains. C'est un homme de scène, popularisé par ses chansons qui expriment l'espoir de voir un jour la paix et la réconciliation de son pays. Ici, tout le monde l'appelle Cruncher, le battant.
Hey, Cruncher.
Hey, little. Oh, blood on your hands, let me get loose. They came along, smashed the window, and then threw a bomb into the house. And as you can see, it's been burnt to the ground, you know. There was young children and a young family, the mother, the father, and 4 young children. So they were very, very lucky to, maybe 5-6 weeks ago. So the neighbours actually came and got the families out. It's the way people are still living here, you know. There's a kind of peace here, but this type of attack still happens. Right. So we're going to watch the match, the game, the football match down in a pub here. So there's a lot of supporters of this, the colours he's wearing, Glasgow Celtic. It's like a culture. When you talk to football, you know, there's a passion also in Glasgow Celtic, and it also identifies a lot of the Irish. It's strange, the Scottish football team. But as I say, that's why they were started. They were started to alleviate the problems of the Irish immigrants in Scotland. And this team, the money that they raised, supported the Irish here, and also supported the Irish who was abroad and living in England, in Wales and Scotland. So, you know, it's a very important, very, very important. We're doing a production. It's 20 years on from the Hunger Strikes. And this play we're presenting is the sacrifice that these young men gave their lives for. And it was us to be recognised as political prisoners. And I'm singing songs from that period, and there's been a lot of new songs have been written for it. I'm going to be singing songs about loss and singing songs about pain. Also, I'm playing a very small part in it as an IRA
man in it at that time, but I'm only acting. Right, Tony? Sit there, bro. All right? Right, right, mate. Right down. 20 years ago, 10 young men died in the H blocks in Lancashire for demanding to be treated as political prisoners. And what we're now doing, because it's the 20th anniversary, is we're doing a play in tribute to that. So we've another 4 days left to get it right, but it's going well.
We need to bring this to an end now. We must achieve our 5 demands.
I am a proud young Irishman in Ulster's hills. My life began a happy boy through green fields round, and I kept God on. I think music can be a weapon if used in the right way. I think that if you look at even the world with music, you see different cultures and different people expressing who they are and what they are through their music. I see the capitalist system using music as a weapon in record industries and creating these sort of artificial music people like the boy bands and the girl bands. They know they can target a teenage audience, so they use it to build their industry up. So I'll wear no convict's uniform, nor meekly serve my time. Let Britain might brand Ireland's fight, 800 years of crime. As an Irishman, I most certainly look at music as a way of expressing the way I feel, and I also use it to let other people in my own country know how I feel. And with the Irish music, it's an easy thing to do because it's a very emotional type of music, you know, and it does come from the soul and it comes from the heart.
It's a memorial mural for the Belfast taxi drivers, West Belfast taxi drivers who have been murdered through the Troubles. So we have a photograph of the black taxi. We have a Celtic cross to commemorate the death of the black taxi drivers and a view of the cemetery where the majority of the people who have been murdered or were buried.
Well, the murals originally developed about 1980, and they were a response to the censorship which was taking place here, that prisoners were being brutalised in the prisons, and this was being not reported properly. So young kids went out of anger and frustration. Their brothers, their fathers were in prison, and started painting this ornate graffiti, which has developed then into the whole murals, which over the years now have been used to highlight on the major issues and political topics which affect our lives here in the north of Ireland. A lot of the young kids seem very inspired by the type of work we do, and occasionally they just volunteer their service and come along and get involved. The detail in which they put into their work, I think, shows a change in the style of the murals and the techniques we have developed over the years. We're now passing on to the younger kids. We are not sponsored in any way. In fact, we would probably be seen as probably the most recognised, as well-known artists in this country. So any money that we do get for our materials and stuff usually comes through the community. Basically, we're all unemployed, pure artists. Murals have been used in a way of making a political message, but actually adding a bit of colour to the community. So people are very proud.